Rumors spread fast, but last night the internet behaved like it was on fire. As soon as that picture of Jim Jones sitting with a mystery woman on his lap started circulating, timelines exploded with shock, confusion, amusement, and a whole lot of judgment. Nobody could quite say where the picture came from, who snapped it, or what the real story behind it was, but the image alone was enough to send fans into full-blown investigation mode. Many people online immediately started claiming that Jim Jones had dumped Chrissy Lamon and moved on with this unknown woman, while others argue that there had to be more to the situation than just one viral snapshot. Still, once a narrative catches heat, it's almost impossible to slow it down. People who have followed Jim and Chrissy for years felt especially stunned. Their relationship has been publicly complicated, publicly passionate, and publicly long. They've been together through breakups, reconciliations, engagement talk, proposals, arguments on reality TV, and bursts of affection that made viewers believe they were unbreakable. So, when the picture surfaced, Jim relaxed, the young woman confidently sitting on his lap, their body language looking a little too familiar. Fans reacted as if they personally witnessed a betrayal. Within minutes, comments flooded social media, accusing Jim of disrespecting Chrissy, embarrassing her, and dropping her for someone new. Others insisted that the picture looked intimate enough to confirm something romantic, even if no one could prove it. The mystery woman became the center of curiosity. People zoomed in, cropped the image, tried to identify her earrings, her hairstyle, her clothing, anything that would reveal who she might be. Some fans claimed she looked younger than Jim by at least a decade, which only fueled more speculation. Others joked that she appeared way too comfortable to be someone he had just met. A few people even insisted they had seen her before in random videos or event pictures, though no one could provide solid evidence. The entire situation turned into a fan-led manhunt, but without any real details. Everyone filled in the blanks with assumptions and theories. Some fans took a more emotional angle, focusing on Chrissy and what she might be feeling if the rumors turned out to be true. Many people brought up the years she invested in the relationship. They mentioned how long she waited for commitment, how often she stood by Jim through public controversy, and how she supported him in times when most couples would have broken apart. For those fans, the idea of Jim moving on with someone new, not privately but in a way that leaked online, felt like a slap in the face. They called him out harshly, accusing him of disloyalty, selfishness, and disrespect. They insisted that Chrissy deserved better, and that this mystery woman was benefiting from a situation built on years of Chrissy's emotional labor. Others had a different take. They argued that no one knows when the picture was taken, under what circumstances, or what the relationship between Jim and the woman actually is. They warned fans not to jump to conclusions, and reminded everyone that a single picture can be misleading. Maybe it was a friendly moment. Maybe it was staged as a joke. Maybe it was from an event or shoot people weren't aware of. Maybe Jim and Chrissy had already parted ways long before the photo was taken. Some people even said that if they had broken up privately, Jim wouldn't owe the internet an explanation. But none of that stopped the chaos. Instead, the uncertainty just gave people more angles to overanalyze. What stood out most was how quickly the narrative shifted from a leaked photo to full storytelling. Fans created entire relationship timelines, breakup scenarios, secret affair theories, and emotional monologues on behalf of Chrissy. Even though none of the parties involved said a word, some social media users even claimed to have insider information about Jim's communication with Chrissy. Though nothing was verifiable, others created fictional dialogues imagining how Chrissy reacted when she saw the picture. It turned dramatic, messy, and almost cinematic the way online controversy often does. People who defend Jim argued that relationships evolve, feelings change, and no one is obligated to stay in something that no longer works. They said that he and Chrissy have had a complicated history, and if he chose a different path, it's his right. But even these calmer voices couldn't drown out the majority who were loudly criticizing him for seemingly replacing Chrissy with someone younger and unknown. For them, the idea of a mystery woman sitting on his lap wasn't innocent. It was evidence of betrayal. The mystery woman herself unintentionally became internet famous overnight. Her image circulated everywhere. People speculated about her personality, career, background, and intentions. Some accused her of being a homewrecker despite not knowing who she was or what her relationship with Jim is. Others defended her, saying she shouldn't be blamed for anything when the details of the situation remain unclear. Social media took her existence and turned it into a storyline she never chose to be part of. As the debates grew louder, one thing became clear. Fans were far more invested in Jim and Chrissy's relationship than either of them might ever have expected. For many longtime viewers, their journey represented longevity, struggle, loyalty, and the messy but real bond of two people trying to stay together despite everything. So seeing Jim photographed in an intimate moment with someone else felt like the ending of a story people thought they understood. But even with all the outrage and emotional reactions, the truth remains unknown. No one knows whether Jim and Chrissy actually split. No one knows who the mystery woman is or what the picture really shows. No one knows if this is a misunderstanding, a private moment taken out of context, or the beginning of a new chapter. All anyone has is a single image and thousands of interpretations. Still, the online reaction demonstrates how powerful narrative can be, even without facts. People projected their own feelings, their own beliefs about loyalty, their own biases about age and relationships. They turned a picture into a full-blown story. They assumed heartbreak, scandal, and betrayal, because that's what the internet usually does when presented with something vague and provocative. Until Jim or Chrissy speak publicly, the situation remains nothing more than speculation fueled by a viral moment. But for now, the internet continues to talk, analyze, criticize, and defend. And the mystery woman, whoever she may be, remains at the center of a whirlwind she probably never expected to be part of. Jim Jones and Chrissy Lamon have one of those relationships that always seemed larger than life. Messy, emotional, passionate, loyal, rocky, and endlessly complicated. Their story has played out in front of cameras, in interviews, and indirectly through their own silences. Over the years, fans have watched them fight, reconcile, drift apart, pull each other back, and struggle to find the balance between love, pride, patience, and the weight of long history. Their relationship has never been simple, and that's exactly why it has always fascinated people. From the beginning, their bond was intense. Chrissy was never someone who kept her feelings hidden, and Jim wasn't someone who opened up easily. That combination created emotional chemistry, but also tension. On reality television, people watched Chrissy push for commitment, while Jim hesitated. Not because he didn't love her, but because he had his own way of showing it. She was direct, vocal, and determined to build a future. Jim was quieter, guarded, and often stuck between his personal world and the demands of his career. That mismatch in communication styles created years of friction. One of the biggest struggles in their relationship was the repeated cycle of feeling close, then drifting apart. Their arguments sometimes came from genuine issues, and other times from misunderstandings that turned into bigger conflicts. Chrissy often felt she wasn't getting the emotional reciprocity she wanted. Jim sometimes felt pressured or overwhelmed by expectations he didn't always know how to meet. Over time, these patterns became predictable, but they also became exhausting. Trust has been a major theme in their story. Throughout the years, the public has speculated about outsiders, temptations, and messy situations. Being part of the entertainment industry means constantly being surrounded by people, attention, and opportunities that can destabilize even the strongest relationships. There were moments on their shows and in public conversations where Chrissy hinted at behavior from Jim that made her feel insecure or disrespected. She expressed frustration about him entertaining too much female attention, whether online or in real-life settings. While Jim rarely admitted to anything directly, the tension around loyalty was always noticeable. Viewers could see that Chrissy's insecurities didn't come from paranoia. They came from repeated patterns, public rumors, and moments where Jim's actions weren't aligned with the stability she wanted. On the other hand, Jim often expressed that he was loyal in his own way, even if he wasn't always perfect. He seemed to view commitment differently, not through rings and labels, but through showing up in his own style. Chrissy, however, wanted emotional consistency, transparency, and formal commitment, which made their conflicts feel never-ending. The topic of infidelity has hovered around them for years, not because of confirmed scandals, but because of the lifestyle, the environment, and the emotional gaps their relationship displayed. Fans saw moments where Chrissy felt hurt or suspicious, and moments where Jim appeared indifferent or distant. Even if there were no direct admissions, the emotional distance itself sometimes looked like betrayal. The biggest issue wasn't one dramatic incident. It was the accumulation of small disappointments, broken expectations, and unresolved grievances. Despite all this, their loyalty to each other often surprised people. No matter how bad their arguments became, they always found their way back. Their connection had layers: friendship, partnership, shared history, and a deep emotional bond that didn't break easily. Many viewers felt that they stayed together, not because everything was perfect but because their attachment ran deeper than temporary obstacles. They would drift, fight, lash out, freeze each other out, then reconnect like magnets that couldn't stay apart. Another recurring problem in their relationship was the difference in life goals. Chrissy wanted structure, rings, marriage, a defined future. Jim seemed to want love, companionship, and freedom without strict timelines. When Chrissy proposed to Jim on their show, it shocked viewers and created waves of debate about their dynamic. Some people admired her boldness, others saw it as a desperate attempt to seal an unstable relationship. Jim's reaction, confused, hesitant, pressured, reflected everything that had been happening between them for years. He cared deeply about her, but he wasn't ready for the steps she wanted. That mismatch created long-lasting emotional wounds. Family involvement added more layers of stress. Jim's close relationship with his mother often created friction with Chrissy, who felt disrespected at times. Their clashes added more tension to an already fragile dynamic. Chrissy wanted her place in Jim's life to be unshakable and prioritized, but the blurred boundaries made her feel like she was fighting for her spot. Jim was stuck between the woman he loved and the family he was raised by, and that tug of war added pressure neither of them could fully escape. Career pressures didn't help either. Jim's lifestyle, touring, late nights, studio sessions, the entertainment circle, often conflicted with Chrissy's desire for stability and consistency. She wanted presence. He was often pulled into worlds where absence was part of the job. These differences made them clash emotionally, even when they still loved each other. Through the years, the public watched them go through breakup rumors, reconciliations, and long periods of silence. Sometimes they seemed solid, united, and peaceful. Other times they appeared distant, fed up, or exhausted with each other. Their ups and downs weren't hidden, they were visible, raw, and real. It was clear that love alone wasn't enough to solve their issues, but it was also clear that love never left the relationship completely. As time went on, people began to notice subtle changes. Chrissy seemed calmer, more secure within herself, more focused on her own peace. Jim continued living life on his own rhythm, sometimes aligned with Chrissy, sometimes not. Their connection remained strong, but so did their differences. Fans often wondered whether they stayed together out of deep love or deep habit, because separating after so many years felt even harder than enduring the same cycles again and again. Relationship became a symbol of how love can survive, but still struggle, how loyalty can coexist with pain, and how two people can be drawn to each other, even when their needs aren't perfectly aligned. The public saw the highs: devotion, chemistry, laughter, deep connection. They also saw the lows: frustration, miscommunication, suspicions, and emotional distance. What makes their story so compelling is not perfection, but imperfection. Their journey is the kind where both partners' imperfection kept trying, failing, trying again, and holding on through storms that could have easily ended things. They showed the world that long-term relationships aren't fairy tales. They are built on resilience, compromise, mistakes, and forgiveness. Even though their ups and downs sometimes looked extreme, they reflected real human emotions. Fear of losing someone, fear of not being enough, fear of being vulnerable, fear of starting over. They represented a relationship where love stayed alive, even when the relationship structure cracked again and again. And through every rumor, every argument, every emotional breakdown, and every moment of reconciliation, one thing always remained true: Jim Jones and Chrissy Lamon never stopped caring about each other, even when the world thought their story was over. Their bond has always been complicated, always flawed, always tense, but also undeniably real. Whether together or apart, their connection continues to be one of the most unforgettable relationship journeys in the world of entertainment.